the conversation. We'll be talking low blood sugar, and I'll be asking our guests some very important questions like what is low blood sugar, what causes low blood sugar, how is low blood sugar detected, what are the risks associated with low blood sugar, who is at risk of having it, and how can it be prevented. Once upon a time, not even once upon a time, everybody is afraid of diabetes. Nobody wants to have, too much sugar in their body so that they will not fall sick and then it becomes life-threatening and all. And so some people have completely avoided anything sugar to start with. And maybe, just maybe, everything needs to be done in moderation. So if it's too high, it's a problem. And most certainly, if it is too low, it will equally be a problem. But I'm not a medical doctor, and that is why I'm going to hand over the microphone to the medical doctor on ground so he can explain further. I have Dr. Hamilton Opurum. He is first a senior lecturer, medical biochemistry department, University of Port Harcourt. He is also the chairman, Diabetes Association of Nigeria, River State chapter. And of course, he is also a chemical pathologist. All these things, he's only one person. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Hamilton.
Good afternoon, Dennis.
I had a dream. Once upon a time, I said that how I'm aspiring to be a doctor. Is it too late for me?
Nothing is ever too late.
I think.
We learn every day.
I can go and write jam again, go to a medical school. I like it when they are addressing doctors. They're some very smart people. How are you, Dr. Hamilton? Good to see you. When was the last time you were here?
Well, over 12 months ago.
Over 12? Oh, wow. Okay, fair enough. All right, so thank you so much for making our time to be here. So without further ado, we'll dive right into the conversation. You must have heard what I said earlier about the fear of consuming too much sugar because people do not want to be at risk of having diabetes. However, I remember the last time you were here, you mentioned that everything should be done in moderation. And for some people, the fear of having diabetes has led them on to not even taking sugar at all. And then before you know it, someone passes out and they say, it's low blood sugar. So what is low blood sugar?
Low blood sugar, which is commonly referred to as hypoglycemia, is a situation where the blood sugar is lower than what is supposed to be. In this environment, we have a reference value of 3.3 to 5.5 millimoles per liter in a fasting blood sample. So that means that if I test your blood in the morning after an overnight fast, the blood sugar level should be between 3.3 and 5.5 millimoles. When that level is lower than that, it becomes a source of concern. We refer to it as hypoglycemia. And so hypoglycemia is referred to as a syndrome because it's a combination of various signs and symptoms, and one of the critical things is that the blood sugar level is lower than it's supposed to be, and there are certain symptoms that one can experience, We'll talk about those symptoms later. And then when that person is all called the Whipple triad, these three things must be in place. If that person receives some glucose, those symptoms will clear.
Okay.
So now it is not only people living with diabetes that may experience hypoglycemia. Other people who are non-diabetic could also have hypoglycemia. So those are things we're going to talk about.
Interesting. Okay. So what really causes low blood sugar?
There are many factors. Now, the blood sugar level, I said, will have a reference value. To maintain the blood sugar level at that range, there are many factors that come into play. Insulin is the most popular one. Insulin has a task of making sure that the glucose leaves the blood into the cells, the muscles and the cells, where it can be broken down to give us energy. The remaining glucose that is not expended is taken back to the liver, where it is stored as glycogen.
Okay.
On the other side of it, we have another hormone called glucagon. Glucagon does the opposite. When you're in a fasting state, glucagon is released. It will ask the body to release glucose. So the liver will begin to produce glucose from the glycogen that is stored and other things. So that the glucose will be maintained at a certain level. Your brain requires glucose to function very well. So what we say homeostasis, your body needs to function well. And for it to function, you need some level of glucose available for all the processes to take place. You know, when the insulin is not working properly, the blood glucose level will go high. Not just going high, because it is not allowed to enter the cells where it can be utilized for energy or stored. So that becomes diabetes. That's why we have. So on the flip side, when the other hormones that balance the effect of insulin, like the glucagon, are not functioning well, then the glucose will go down. Okay? So the glucose will go down. So we'll talk about those.
Wow. Interesting. All right. I'd like us to, you had mentioned that there are symptoms of low blood sugar. I think I'd like us to look at those symptoms before we move on to how we can even detect that this person has low blood sugar, and then who is at risk and the risk factors associated before prevention. So what are the signs or symptoms of low blood sugar?
You know, hypoglycemia is a very dangerous situation.
Wow.
Yes, it's dangerous because you could just easily die from it. Okay? So the first thing people notice when their blood sugar begins to go low is start sweating.
Sweating?
Yes,
okay.
Or start feeling cold on the skin, you know. Some dizziness, start shaking. If you see somebody who is diabetic that's having very low sugar, they'll start shaking, you know. So have headache, heart rate will increase, you know. And as the blood sugar continues to go down, so we begin to lose consciousness. It become, you know, inability to, they become feeling confused. You know, they not even be able to sleep. They begin to feel sleepy, you know, feeling confused. I may have problems speaking clearly, you know. So these things continue to a point where the person goes into coma.
From low blood sugar?
Yes.
Interesting.
And dies off. Yes. If the person is not resuscitated on time, he could die from there. Some of our persons living with diabetes, I think one or two in the past had died because of this. One of the simple reasons is that either took his drugs or took the insulin and did not eat when he was supposed to eat, and went out and collapsed on the way. And people around did not know what to do. And, you know, from that, he passed on.
So sweating, shaking, heart rate becomes fast, some sort of confusion, and possible collapse.
Yes, but you see, because of the sensitivity of this kind of situation, what we educate our persons who are living with diabetes, because it happens both to children and adults. What we educate them to do is to have a kit, a diabetes kit. Especially those on insulin, the blood sugar level goes down if they don't eat when they're supposed to eat.
Okay.
You know, so if you have a pack, when you're in that kind of situation and you know that you're beginning to, chances are that you're beginning to go into a hypoglycemic situation, you can test yourself, check your blood sugar at that level. If it's going down, you have a biscuit in that bag or a small bottle of Coke or something, and you can take to replace the blood sugar, and you feel normal.
So now, from what you've said, are you saying it's only people that are diabetic that are at risk of having high blood pressure? Okay.
No. We'll talk about the other causes of hypoglycemia.
How about we do that now?
It's okay. There are predisposing factors like advancing age.
Advancing age, okay.
Yes. People are not aware about hypoglycemia. So they take they do certain things that may expose them. For diabetics, it's very simple, because if you're on insulin or on sulfonylureas or some diabetic drugs, you may take those drugs either at a higher dose than what you're supposed to take, or you take the drug and you do not eat when you're supposed to eat, or you skip a meal. Your blood sugar may begin to go down because you're already taking something that is supposed to remove the sugar into your cells. Some people may have a tumor, an islet cell tumor, okay, that is increasing the production of insulin. So if insulin is because of the tumor, more insulin is being produced. It means that the action of insulin is accelerated, is increased. So if you're not eating enough to take care of that, or that matter is not addressed, then your blood sugar level will go down very much. Some people who drink alcohol may take alcohol without food. When you take alcohol without food, the first thing is that your body will break down that alcohol for energy. So you feel strong, but after a while, it goes off, and your body and the alcohol consumption will affect the liver in its ability to produce glucose when you are in that kind of situation where your body needs glucose. So some people have drunk so much that they went into a coma. Some people drink so many bottles, and before they know, they just sleep off. And probably when they get up and they are lucky, they are resuscitated. But alcohol is one of those things. Drugs is another. So those are factors that can lead people to have hypoglycemia.
Okay, so having said that, you said age, you said alcohol. What other possible risk factors can trigger hypoglycemia?
Like I said, excessive alcohol, critical illness. Especially if you have end-stage liver disease. Liver plays a very, very important role in the metabolism in the body. So if the liver is diseased, it means that it cannot regenerate glucose, what we call gluconeogenesis. It's producing glucose from certain other small molecules that are the proteins, stored fat, glycogen, and all that.
The show continues after this break on Nigeria.
on the sunny side on your number one station for talk, and we're talking blood sugar. My guest, Dr. Hamilton Opurum, is a senior lecturer, medical biochemistry department, University of Port Harcourt, and also the chairman, Diabetes Association of Nigeria, Rivers State Chapter. And so far, we've talked about what low blood sugar is, what causes factors that can, possibly trigger it. And before we went on the commercial break, Dr. Hamilton was talking about those with critical illness. I think he mentioned the liver problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like for you to, you were on that before we went on the break.
Yes, the liver plays a very important role, just like kidney plays in the body, and metabolism revolves so much around the liver. So if the liver is diseased, it means that it cannot carry out that function very well. So it is not uncommon to see a case of hypoglycemia in people with end-stage liver disease. Sepsis is another thing when you have serious infection, bacterial infection in the blood.
Okay.
Because then starvation and kidney failure. In all of these situations, the persons are not taking in sufficient carbohydrates to boost their blood sugar level, and the disease condition will keep, leading to that condition. Then adrenal insufficiency, when there's low cortisol level, because there are certain hormones like glucagon, epinephrine, cortisol, that help to raise the blood sugar level. If for any reason they are not being produced in sufficient amounts or not there at all, to counter the effect of insulin, the chances are high that the person will begin to experience hypoglycemia. But what is very common to us now, we talk so much about the persons living with diabetes because that is the simpler one where most cases are seen. Both children and adults. Most children have type 1 diabetes. And in the hospital, Professor Jaja and her team have been doing so much to educate the children and their parents, and even go out to acquire kits for them. They have glucometers, teach them how to test their blood. They always have the pack of biscuits or soft drinks. For the adults too, there's another thing. Glucagon can also be added to that pack, and they are taught how to use it. And most importantly, to educate their friends and family in case something happens. Somebody who is close by can easily test them. If you find that their blood sugar level is low, administer the first aid they need to help them come out. Then call the ambulance, or here you have to rush the person to the hospital, to the emergency room, so that they can get the required attention.
Okay. So how is this? I know you've mentioned test, but how exactly is the low blood sugar detected? Well, apart from maybe the person who has it being with the kids, what if it's any other person? How is it even detected in the hospital? I know once or twice, I think some people have come around and they prick your fingers and take blood sample and all of that.
Yeah. We teach people living with diabetes how to test themselves.
Okay.
So the glucometer is there now, unlike in the past when it was not there, then you need to go to the hospital, they draw your blood, and that takes a lot of time. But the introduction of the glucometer has made it very easy for everybody. So we try to educate and teach persons living with diabetes how to use these glucometers to test themselves. They wake up in the morning, they can test themselves. They feel funny, they test themselves to know what their blood sugar level is. Is it going too high or is it going too low? And they can take the right steps. So we spend a lot of time on diabetes education so that people will know what to do. You can be your own best doctor, because when you take the right steps and when you go to the clinic to meet with your doctor, you can engage the person with a lot of questions and educate you further on what to do under these critical conditions, so that when you come back, he can follow up with that.
All right then. We'll still open the phone lines. If you're just joining us, it's still the sunny side on your number one station for Talk 92.3 Nigeria Info FM, and this time for Mind, Body, and Soul, where we're talking low blood sugar. Now, if you have any possible questions for Dr. Hamilton, please feel free to call 0817 923 0002. That is 0817 923 0002. We also have 0817 923 0003. Once again, 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. On Twitter, we are at Nigeria Info PH, and Facebook page is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. So, what are the risks associated with those with low blood sugar? What are those things that are somewhat scary? Before we go to how it can be prevented or managed when it is eventually discovered.
Well, everything with hypoglycemia is very dicey. Prolonged severe hypoglycemia is life-threatening and can lead to multiple organ failure.
Wow.
You see, the brain relies so much on the blood sugar for its energy. So that's why I see they get confused at some point. If the brain is not getting sufficient energy to run, its functions, the heart will begin to flutter, as a person could have a cardiac arrest. Yes, and if you survive that, there could be permanent brain damage, and the person could eventually go into a coma and die. See, most times the issue is that we do not know anybody's identity. You can be walking on the street, nobody knows who you are. A lot of people do not have any identity card to show that this is my condition. In some places, some people have bracelets to show I'm a diabetic. So that if the person is unconscious somewhere, I say, this is a diabetic. What do we do? You could also have instructions in your wallet. It's okay. Or hang it like this. So I'm a diabetic. So if you see that person unconscious, you follow instructions what to do. Who is his caregiver? Can you take him to the person?
Okay.
Because we have not too many endocrinologists who are experts in managing diabetes. So we advise our persons living with diabetes to always be in touch with their endocrinologists.
Okay. Can we take this call? We'll come back to this. Okay. Emeka will have to call back. Okay, so back to being in contact with the endocrinologist.
What we do in the Diabetes Association is largely education. Diabetes education to make them understand what their own roles are as persons living with diabetes. And then you keep in close touch with your doctor and other caregivers like your dietitian and all that, so that you balance all of this. So we're talking about not eating at the right time or skipping their meals. Even exercise, when you do more than the required exercise that you're used to doing and you're not eating, your blood sugar could actually go low for people living with diabetes, So there are a lot of things that just knowing the right thing and taking the right steps, you're home free. You could be in a good condition.
Okay, and now this one I'm going to ask because we live in a somewhat religious society. And some people, even understanding some of the risk factors around them, especially those that have come to the knowledge that they are diabetic, fasting here and there, 5 days fasting, 10 days fasting, or some people even do 40 days fasting, like the Lord Jesus Christ. Is there I'm asking this because you had mentioned starvation before. So would it be seen that someone who knows their health condition and still choose to fast are clearly starving themselves or putting themselves in harm's way?
Yes, in all these situations, it's a very delicate thing. You need to balance it. There are some of our members who are pastors.
Wow.
Some are Muslims. The Muslims also do a fast. So we'll take time to educate them what to do during those periods. You can reduce your fasting time and monitor yourself very closely if you begin to feel funny. So if you take all this, but then you must take steps to take your medications, do everything, and make sure that you're in good balance so that when you take this spiritual exercise, it does not harm you in any way. And we go to churches, we go to mosques to interact with them and educate them further. So that is the service we try to render. All
right then. Nigerian folk.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good
Go
afternoon.
ahead. Jonathan from Moji.
Jonathan, you're welcome.
So, my find out from the doctor, no sugar pressure and low blood pressure. Are
you
they
hear
different? Low sugar pressure and low blood pressure. Are they different?
Low blood sugar.
And low sugar.
There's low sugar pressure.
Just calm down. Low blood sugar.
Sorry, I just packed my car. I said, let me find out.
No problem.
Low blood pressure and low sugar pressure. I just want to be sure. Is there no difference?
It's okay. They are different.
Okay, go ahead.
Different. The other one is measuring the level of the level of glucose in your blood. The blood pressure is measuring that one. They tie something around your hand and pump it and measure the pressure as the blood is flowing in and out of your heart. What is the pressure involved? There's a range it's supposed to be at a certain age. So if you begin to have problems with your heart, your blood pressure will go up. And you're given a certain medication to manage it properly. Blood sugar level is a different thing.
Okay, let's hear from Clement in Ajib. Hi, Clement. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, is there anything like pregnancy-induced diabetes?
Yes, sir.
And what are the remedies?
Well, pregnancy-induced diabetes, see, a woman may have been very normal until she got pregnant. Then along the line, so if your wife goes to the clinic, that's why women are encouraged to register early. If they go to the clinic, one of the first things they do is they screen them. They check their blood sugar level, check their urine sugar. If there is any trace of glucose in the urine, they check their blood sugar levels and carry out some tests to establish whether she has become diabetic because of the pregnancy. A lot of women after the pregnancy, the blood sugar level will return to normal. So the changes in hormone levels and the stress of pregnancy may induce that gestational diabetes, as we call it. After that pregnancy, the blood sugar level can come back to normal. But it's also a red flag that this person has to be watched, because years later, if some people may eventually develop diabetes, others may not.
Okay. Michael from Imo State. Hello, Michael. Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, Michael.
Thank you. Doctor, I appreciate your work.
Thank you so much.
Please, I have a different question to ask.
Okay.
It's about high blood pressure.
Okay.
And maybe somebody of maybe 33, 34 come up with high blood pressure, maybe due to stress and some other physical activities? And how can such person manage it?
Yes, even people who are younger now are becoming hypertensive. So the important thing is you need to form a habit of going to see your doctor, and he'll guide you and begin to manage you, give you directions, give you some drugs, and encourage you on how to adjust your lifestyle and follow your medications. That way you feel better.
All right then. How can we prevent low blood sugar?
Well, it's just being mindful about these conditions. If you're a heavy drinker, you can minimize that. The others is your enemy is actually somebody who is supposed to guide you. So if you, a lot of us when you're young don't think they'll have any business going to the hospital except you're going to have a surgery or something. But it's important people form the habit of going to see their doctor, have a lot of discussions with them, because you learn a lot on how to prevent some of these conditions. The World Health Organization has said that the best thing is to prevent. When the condition is upon you, then you can now begin to treat and manage. A lot of things we're doing because of our lifestyle, we're taking steps that are inimical to our health, and that is not helping us. But you go to your doctor, interact with your doctor, he will guide you properly, and you live a healthy life.
All right then.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, madam.
I wanted to ask if there is anything like high body sugar. Because sometimes I was told that some people may not have it very high in their blood, but the sugar level is very high inside the body. Is that possible?
Well, madam, what I know is that when we eat, our body digests that food, and the food is eventually broken down to the smallest particle, which is glucose, and that glucose enters the blood. And the moment that glucose enters the blood, the body releases insulin. Insulin has a work to make sure that that glucose is removed from the blood into the cells where it will give you energy. That's why you can move around, you can walk, you can do a lot of things. It's because you're getting energy from the food you have eaten. So when you eat, the blood sugar level will go up, but the insulin will make sure that it comes down to the level that it's supposed to be. Much later, when you're fasting, when you've not eaten after maybe 8, 12 hours, other hormones do some work to make sure that there's some level of glucose in your blood that will enable your brain and other organs in the body to function very well. So the body has a balance of what your blood sugar should be so that you can be in a healthy state. It is when these things don't go right, that is when we get concerned, because some of them could have very serious consequences. Okay?
All right. Once again, 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. Also, 0817 923 0007. Feel free to send a WhatsApp message. WhatsApp number again is 0809 0306416. If you're unable to get through to us via the phone lines, do well to send a WhatsApp message and we would gladly read it. Like I said earlier, a call screener is always on standby to take your calls first before passing you to me in the studio. Moving forward, I think I'd like to go back to more of your calls, shall we? This one is from Richard. Just a few seconds, please. Richard is calling from Oginiba. Hello, Richard. Yes. Welcome to the sunny side. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
my name
Richard.
is Richard. I'm calling from Oginiba.
You're welcome.
It's diabetes. The doctor has told us the signs if the person have low sugar. But I want him to tell us the signs which will occur to the person when the person have high sugar.
Oh, high blood sugar, which is
blood sugar, yes.
Okay, which is all referred to as hyperglycemia. Initially you will not know that your blood sugar level is high until it begins to cause you some problems. Some discover that they have high blood sugar when they begin to have problem with their eyesight. They now go to the clinic and say, no, let's go and check your blood sugar first, and find that the blood sugar level is high. And blood sugar level has a lot of, because it plays a very important role in how we live, because that's what gives us energy to do work, to do everything. So if that level is high, you begin to lose energy because your body is not getting sufficient energy. Even though the glucose in the blood is high, your body is not using it effectively to give you energy. So you begin to feel weak, you begin to have, feel some symptoms, some weakness and all that. Some people begin to pass a lot of urine or begin to feel excessive thirst. So those are certain things. But some people may not even feel these symptoms, but they have a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Dixon from Choba, welcome. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Dixon.
Yeah. Please, I was actually following the program. I went to ask the doctor, is this diabetes, is it, can it be hereditary or lifestyle? How does someone acquire it?
Both of them. There are different types of diabetes. Somebody had asked a question earlier about gestational diabetes. That's one a woman develops when she's pregnant. It's not everybody who does that. Some people have it. But there are basically two types. The adult type, the non-insulin dependent type, which before now is very common in adults, very commonly found in adults as we begin to age. But interestingly, even younger persons are beginning to have diabetes too. So this type 2 diabetes, you can use your diet, you can adjust your lifestyle. It first starts with what we call pre-diabetes, where your blood sugar level begins to go up a bit, and if you modify the way you eat, the quantity you eat, do some exercise and all that, it could come down, But if you do not know, it keeps going. This type 2 diabetes, we found that it is found in families, among relations. So say it is highly genetic. So it's a inherited defect within families. But you know that if you live in a family now, you do a lot of things together, you eat the same way, you do a lot of things together. So environmental factors also come in and our lifestyle. Okay? There is another type, which is type 1, which is commonly found in children, where there is an immune reaction, there's a damage to the pancreas that produces insulin. So you could see a child suddenly become sick, where he or she was never sick. Something has damaged the pancreas and the body is not able to produce insulin. So that child is going to require injections. Every time you eat, you require injections to bring down the blood sugar level. Okay, so the adult type, which comes gradually, is highly inherited. But the other type 1 is not inherited. That one is just an immune reaction that damages the part of the pancreas.
Ike from Oyibo, we lost our call. Best man from Port Harcourt, welcome. Go ahead.
I greet the doctor in the house.
Good afternoon, sir.
I wanted to ask if, I don't know if I'm correct, if high blood sugar is called diabetes mellitus, what will the low blood sugar, are we going to call it?
Low blood sugar is called hypoglycemia. High blood sugar is hyperglycemia.
Yes, I heard you said the hypoglycemia and the hyperglycemia.
Yes.
What about the diabetes mellitus and diabetes insipidus? I don't know if I'm correct.
Okay. I like your adventure into biochemistry. That's good. Diabetes insipidus, that's what it means, is that you're passing a lot of urine. When we check that urine, there is no glucose in it. We worry there because about 70-75% of your body is water. So when you're passing a lot of urine, we need to know why you're passing that urine. There are many other factors that are responsible for diabetes insipidus. It's completely different from diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is sweet urine. The hallmark there is that you pass urine that if you pass urine on the ground, after a short while you see ants gathered there. If you taste that urine, it's going to be sweet. Sweet urine. You're passing urine, you're passing a lot of sugar in urine. Okay.
All right. Someone says, Doctor, please, low blood sugar or high blood sugar, which is more dangerous?
Well, from what we have been discussing in the past several minutes, I think the hypoglycemia is more dangerous. You see, the hyperglycemia is a lot easier to manage and calm down, but the low blood sugar, because of the way it comes, a lot of people may not know. And if you're very confused, you cannot talk to anybody. If you're in a place where nobody knows your condition, you could just collapse. I know these days, if somebody collapses on the street, people will rather start snapping with their phones rather than find a way to help you. So the danger there is that people will, because of the damage associated with it, you could have permanent brain damage, go into coma and eventually die. So if you don't get immediate attention, you could pass on from there. High blood glucose on the other side, you can manage it, you can move around, go to the clinic, and they begin to treat you, and it will gradually come down. You're not going to have all the complications come gradually, because of the way it is. But hypoglycemia, I think, is more dangerous.
All right, Simon from Bloma, are we going to be able... Okay, someone says, please, doctor, what is the normal blood sugar level and when is it high? Mike, send that in. Okay,
here, fasting blood sugar level, we test your blood sugar in the morning when you've not eaten. It should be between 3.3 to 5.5 millimoles. When it begins to go lower than that to about 2.2 millimoles, is severe hypoglycemia, and that's a cause for concern. When it's above 5.5, going to 6, if you've never been that high, it's important you go to your doctor to find out what is happening. Are you beginning to be pre-diabetic? So that you can take steps to control that and be free from it. If you cannot, then it will cascade and, further get into the diabetic situation completely.
All right, Simon from Abloma, welcome. You're going to be our last caller. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I just want to ask. I have a friend that is in diabetes.
Okay.
But as the person gets injury on his leg,
yes,
and the person was getting treatment, but instead of getting better, the injury keep worsening until the injury damage the person's finger.
Okay.
So in that condition, so what can the person do to cure the injury?
Well, see, the bad situation is that when it's allowed to go on that way, to save that person's life, they may have to cut off that finger. All this while we've been talking something about the need to see your doctor. If that person had gone to the endocrinologist at the hospital, then there are some at the teaching hospital, some at the BMH, some other places. If you see your endocrinologist, he will manage that condition a lot better and advise you. You do not treat diabetes sores like other injuries. It will not heal because as far as that sugar is there in the blood, where the site of injury, it becomes a lot easier for it to get infected. And it could have gangrene, which will threaten your life. So they take steps to make sure that they control the condition first, the blood sugar level first, and then treat you aggressively so that the condition is arrested. Before it gets to the point where you lose a foot or you lose a finger or you lose an arm. So what we're doing, and I appreciate what our host is doing today, continue to educate people so that we have this opportunity to reach out to people and educate how to, prevent those preventable conditions and live healthy lives.
Okay, I think you should answer this one, then we wrap up because we're already pressed for time. Good afternoon, sir. Please, what is the first aid given to one with hypoglycemia before taking the person to the hospital? Thank you. We'll go from Rumo Dumaya.
First thing is, if you can test the person, if you cannot, just give the person some cubes of sugar, or if you have a soft drink there, or anything that can just give the person glucose. If they go to the hospital, they can just give a drip, dextrose drip to raise the blood sugar level a bit so that you can circumvent the condition.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Hamilton Opurum, for your time. Final words from you as we round up the conversation. For those whose messages I couldn't take on calls, you have to forgive us, but see, time is gone. So
thank you for having me. I deeply appreciate the opportunity to share with our viewers. Diabetes education and health education is very important, and you're doing a wonderful job. Reaching out to people, sharing information. Whatever is important to one person is important to all. So we continue to do this, interacting, working with the doctors and other healthcare givers. We, as a Association of Diabetes Association of Nigeria, will try to educate ourselves. It's open to everybody, not just people living with diabetes. Everyone. You come there to learn how to live a better life. Adjust your lifestyle so that you'll be healthy. And health is wealth. If we take that seriously, we'll do a lot of things to help ourselves. So now that things are so difficult, if you save, it will save you some money.
Very important.
That I could use for more important things.
All right, Dr. Hamilton Opurum, Senior Lecturer, Medical Biochemistry Department, University of Port Harcourt, and also the Chairman, Diabetes Association of Nigeria, Rivers State Chapter. We look forward to more conversations like this with you in future.
Thank you.
And this brings us to the end of the Sunny Side today. Follow us on Twitter at NigeriaInfoPH. Our Facebook page is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. On Instagram and Threads at Nigeria Info FM_PH. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _Denise_Dennis. That's DENISE Follow my Facebook page, Denise Dennis, and follow my Facebook account, Denise Dennis Waller. I'll be back here at the same time tomorrow, 12 noon to 3 p.m. for the TGIF time on the Sunny Side. Rivers Today comes up at 3 o'clock, and thereafter, Hat Facts with Kaladako Robatable. Do enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Adios.